Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Necessity versus Commodity. I got the amazing Kendra Morancy on today, and we've connected because of her background in being an ad buyer, but she's really a digital marketing strategist like myself. We help online business owners, brick and mortar businesses, really become successful in generating new clients, revenue, whatever it may be. I wanted to bring her on and interview her because she is a wealth of knowledge. She's managed ads for hundreds of individuals where she's managed 10, 15, 20 accounts at one time. And you're talking a very large volume of running ads. But we don't want to just talk about ads today. We want to look at business as a whole and digital marketing strategies because we've both seen, and her and I've had some amazing dialogue around how we've seen so many changes in the past 12 months, where 2024, 2025 are going. Because if you are just running ads, you are either going to burn a ton of money, your cost per client acquisitions are going to go through the roof. And her and I both have seen some of the top gurus out there that all they used to do was run ads, all be pivoting really quickly to more powerful social media portfolios because that's what's going to be needed going forward. People are sick of just marketing mumbo jumbo, promise the world, left for nothing, which is one of the reasons why I got in the industry doing what I do. And I know Kendra is the exact same way. And so her and I originally again connected because of her skill as an ad buyer. I personally hate running ads. All my clients know I hate running ads. I don't like doing it. So if you can pay someone to do it, that's awesome. So Kendra, welcome to the podcast. I'm super excited to have you.
Thank you for having me here.
I want to start off and ask you a question. Let's
Go.
focus on ads real quick.
I'm
So
ready.
many, so many people come in the online space and immediately try to run ads. And lots of times the biggest struggle I've seen, and I want people to kind of get an idea of you and your perspective from the ad buyer and running so many different accounts and what you truly do and what I see people fail at. Like I'll have a client come, I'm doing an audit of stuff, and I say, hey, send me your Facebook ads, your Facebook creative, your Facebook videos, whatever it may be that you're running ads, whether it's YouTube, everything. And oftentimes I get like one or two written pieces of content, like three pictures and like one video. And I'm going, that's all you have? You know, you've been in business for 12 months. How is that all you have? And it blows my mind. So when you're running an account, explain what you're doing when you're testing and optimizing a funnel from the very front compared to just having like, hey, this is my picture, this is my written copy.
Okay. The first thought I had is if I wanted to just make a quick thousand, $2,000, I would just take the two pictures of the videos. But if I'm thinking of actually getting them qualified leads each month, I'm looking at the business as a whole in terms of like, who knows your brand? Where is your target audience? Who are they? Where are they located? How are we going to get in front of them? So I would start off with those questions first. Do you actually have a way for them to buy this service or product? Like run ads and lead them to where? Are we leading them back to your Facebook page, your website, like a form fill? So like I would prefer to start off from the beginning as to like what is your product or service? Does your target audience know who you are and how do they actually buy this product or service from you?
Yep.
Mm,
And it's a beautiful point. Like there's so many different ways. You know, you brought up forms, you brought up funnels.
mm,
You know, some of the biggest things that I do with clients, you know, VSL webinar funnels, low ticket ascension funnels, lead magnets, freebies to group. A funnel's a funnel, like, but running that to your target audience. Some people don't have a large following.
mm-hmm.
And so running ads to just one funnel. So let's, as an example, let's say I'm a client of yours and I've got no following and I'm going to go back to my fitness roots. And I used to help people reverse rheumatoid arthritis. So I'm coming to you and going, hey, Kendra, I've been running ads to my webinar funnel to help people reverse rheumatoid arthritis. I've been running this ad copy and these two pictures for the last 6 months, but I'm getting completely unqualified people. What would be the first thing that you would look at when it comes down to just the management of the ad?
What are your competitors running?
Okay.
Like I would either ask you, maybe you know, or if you don't know, we're going to figure out who are your top 3 competitors in your area. Like maybe start with a local approach, especially because it's fitness. No one's going to drive 45 minutes to work out unless you're like this massive brand, you know? So like let's see what your competitors are doing and how we can kind of like take that and then personalize it to match your brand. Like never start from zero. Like we're not guessing anymore. Like there's so much content, so many competition that we just need to look at what's already working for them, make it fit your brand and or target audience, which is probably similar audiences, and then test that out for like a good 2 weeks to a month's time. Like we don't just give up after 2 days of running ads. Mm.
I couldn't agree more. One of the agencies I actually worked for, when we were running someone's funnel, like we would have 4 written copies, we would have 3 different videos, and probably 5 different picture creatives that we were mix matching stuff just in the first 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, I didn't run ads. That wasn't me, but that was what we set up front. And then the ad buyers would be constantly looking at data and changing those around to optimize that. And sometimes, like, you know, to your point of 2 weeks to maybe 2 months to really figure out what are some of the best ones landing.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes and correct me if I'm wrong, but over a period of time, like you should continue to be testing new stuff, like on a very regular basis to make sure nothing's stale, things are still optimized, and you're not losing tons of money.
I
Do
agree
you?
with that.
Okay, perfect.
Mm.
You brought up something very powerful, checking out your competitors. It blows my mind how many online space business owners, if I ask them, like, who are your top 3 competitors, they have no idea. Or their top 3 competitors are like cream of the crop, let's say. So, like, one of my clients, he does leadership and personal development. Hey, who are your top competitors? Tony Robbins. That's not a competitor.
It's
He's
not.
on a totally different league, right?
Exactly.
Let's look at actually what your competitors are. And also, you brought up kind of like brand voice type of aspect, like your personal branding, your brand voice, like who you are, your business, is that DNA
Mm-hmm.
kind of put into play. So why do you focus on that right away? Like what's the most important part so people really get it? Because everyone thinks that they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of my clients has come in and they're completely off target. So how would you help somebody get on target?
In terms of brand voice or
I'm looking at competitors. Let's
hmm,
start there.
someone, if I was to look for competitor analysis, let's look at how long they've been in business. Let's look at location, like if it's a gym, someone who's within the same 10 to 20 mile radius, being realistic. Maybe even like let's say if I wanted to target, I don't know, Black millennial women, I should look at someone who's also targeting Black millennial women in the fitness space. So it could get like really simple. Who's doing the same thing that you're doing? And for maybe if I'm starting off, maybe look at someone who's doing it for 5 years. Maybe I could compete with that person. I wouldn't compete with someone who's been in the game for 20, 30 years. It's not gonna happen.
Yep.
So I yeah, and I would look at like maybe like with the Stanley Cup and all these big trends right now. If I'm selling cups, how do I become the Stanley Cup? I can't compete with them, but I'm gonna see how is their copy on their website? How
Yep.
is the copy on their social media content? Like how do they get this big following?
Yep.
Mm,
I you brought something up now twice, and I know it's kind of brought up, you know, fitness, even though my rheumatoid
mm,
arthritis was uh online and it was national that I was running ads to. But you bring up a really good point of local. It's amazing how many clients I've worked with that are in the online space. And when I just talk about local, they have no idea. And a lot of the coaches and clients I work with, you're probably missing out on 2 to 5 new clients every single month of just from your local. And I don't care what industry you're in. And it blows my mind how many people just have gone into, oh, the national.
mm-hmm.
And you're missing out people in your backyard. To me, that's, hey, I'm looking for 5 new clients. I'd rather hop in my car and talk to the 5 new clients that I can get immediately every single month of just driving within a 2 mile radius.
Exactly.
And obviously, I'm not saying get out in your car and drive, but to run ads nationally and spend thousands of dollars to get those clients. So there's a lot. You brought up something really powerful there. Um, the big problem I see when a lot of people do their market research, they're missing a target a little bit, or they fall into the trap of where they copy a competitor
Mhm.
almost word for word, and you're a carbon copy. Like you said, you can't compete with Stanley, right?
No,
Like I can't get the cup and then put Stanley's on there and expect to have the same aspect. But so many
exactly.
people do that. So talking about like looking at your competitor, and one of the things of, hey, we've got a niche. How do you step 1 degree over to have your own niche that you're the king of? So what's something that you kind of walk through a client about learning how to do some of those pieces?
The first thought immediately is, what are the common complaints in your industry? And how can you solve that? But how do you solve it better, quicker, more efficiently, more cost efficiently? That's all people care about. How do I save money? How do I save time? How do I get peace of mind? How does this make my life easier?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
One thing that, again, looking at some of the gurus that we've been talking about for the last few months, and we've been, kind of discussing some of this dialogue of, we're seeing people shift a lot to other aspects of their social media. Now, you can find a guru, you can find a fitness professional, you can digital marketing strategist, ad buyer, you can grab a rock, a chiropractor, throw an ad,
Mhm.
hit all of these people. So many people are missing the uniqueness of themselves and like a brand voice or their personal branding intertwined in that. And I see a lot of companies kind of switching and kind of blending the two now, which is
Mhm.
super, super important. Why do you feel like bringing out who you are into your online brand helps you actually bring in more clients?
I think that personal connection, after a while, like, why go with Stanley and why not go with the Walmart cup? You know,
Yeah.
it's the same function. They're both pink. I can drink out of it. But there's something about Stanley. Like I like the branding. I like that everyone else is talking about. It's just people kind of have FOMO. Like, why do I like this brand? Like it, I think it's that personal touch. Like something you've said relates to them, or it, I think it's that personal touch. And I notice that sometimes when you try to sound too professional, you sound stale. No one's gonna read the content.
I I agree with that a lot. And I think, kind of like running ads, like the
Mhm.
content you're putting out, if you're not tracking and testing that
Yeah.
as well, I think is super key. You brought up something really important of like everyone, why does your ideal buyer buy? Right? It's to save money, to get it done
Mhm.
faster. It might be ego and status. The list kind of goes on. Why do people actually buy from you and your product? You need to kind of really put out there. But if you're putting out the same bland content over and over again, and it's not generating leads, you should be checking that.
Just
And
change it. You're still spending the money. Just change it.
correct. Now, organically, same deal,
Yeah.
right? And so it's also one thing, working with online businesses of going, hey, how's your what you're putting out content right now? Like, is that working? Right? Like a good friend of mine, he started an online business from zero. Within 12 months, was making 7 figures. That
Nice.
all organic. That's working. Right. So now if he's going out and running ads, it's going to be way more successful because he already knows what's working.
Exactly.
Now, I know so many business owners that start an online business 12 months later, they're struggling to even bring in one client a month consistently, but they're still posting every
Mhm.
single doing the same thing or running ads, hoping it's magically going to change.
Mhm.
Like, when do you talk to a client and say, like, we need to step back and start over because what you're doing is not working? And I guess, like, how long of a runway do you give yourself? Like, is it 2 weeks? Is it 90 days that you test something? If you're not getting results, like, hey, we need to pivot this.
I think within a month you can see how bad an ad is.
What, in your experience, why kind of that 30-day mark compared to, because I know some
Mhm.
people's philosophies are, hey, if you run something $100 a day, and you don't make $1 back that day, shut it
Mhm.
off and start over, right? Like everyone's got their different philosophy. So why do you kind of feel like that 30-day mark is really good?
Uh, Data's important. How much data are you really getting in 2 days? And the whole purpose is to test out different things. Maybe this week you're testing this copy versus switching the copy over for a different version of the same ad. Then whatever is the most successful ad copy for that week, you copy that for week 2 and then test it to a different version of that ad, whether you switch around the brand imaging
Beautiful.
or the subject line. So like the whole point is to continue to refine it and test it so you get that winning ad. And then I look like when you look on the back end of Facebook or even Google, you're testing out these large audiences. They're not all going to be your customer. You
Yep.
just need to find that right middle ground of this audience, of this age, of this demographic with this interest. And people need to see the ad a few times before they actually make a decision. Most people are not going to, especially with a new brand, no one's going to buy on that first touch point. So it's kind of a matter of giving yourself a real shot to get the message across to get that sale.
I agree. You brought up a couple things. I want to touch base on audience in a second,
Mhm.
but talking about testing and like, hey, one day, and saying, hey, test it for a week, take the best one. I love that. I think that's a approach that most people should do. One of the things, the emotional roller coaster some entrepreneurs I see go through when they're running ads, like, oh, my ads are crushing it, when it's Friday,
Mhm.
Saturday, Sunday, and like Monday or Tuesday, just freaking tank and they freak out. Like something's broken, it's not working. What's your advice to somebody that's running their own ads to help step out of that emotional roller coaster? Because you and I both know that if you're running ads over the course of like 1 week to 4 weeks, there are certain days where the performance is just garbage,
Exactly.
but the other ones are sky high. So how do you help somebody overcome and understand that depending on the offer that they're in?
First thought, you cannot control consumer behavior. What if your target audience is just not on that day?
Very good point.
That is a lesson. Okay, maybe these ads perform the best these 3 days, increase the budget this day, and the days that it's severely underperforming, you decrease budgets for those 2 days or 3 days, and you focus on other forms of marketing channels.
I couldn't agree more. And it really is crazy how many people again I see that are frustrated over that. And so many people can't step back and just take a look at data. And it's why I love talking to other digital marketing strategists like yourself or people that run ads, because we all look at data. Like we're not making decisions based on what emotional
24
feeling.
hour. Yeah, 124 hours. Like that is not
Right.
enough data to make a serious decision.
No, and the same thing with even changing certain things, because you brought up like the ad, the picture, the subject line, even changing like the call to actions or,
Mhm.
all of these little
Colors.
details.
I've seen
Yes.
the same product, similar companies. This button is pink, this button is blue. For some reason, even colors like influence consumer behavior. Like this color for some reason grabs more attention with the same call to action.
Yeah. And if you actually, the psychology of colors actually is a really crazy science to dive into.
Mhm.
Uh, hey, blue is like medical, dark is like elegant,
Yeah.
all these type of things. But to your point, I've seen that a ton too, where the exact same, it could just be a block, right?
Hmm.
And just with text, blue, I'm just going to throw out two random colors. Blue tanks, red is just super freaking high performing, right? Like if you're not testing these little variables and you're just running the same thing, just kind of, to me, you're just doing a pay and pray type of strategy. And you should constantly be testing these certain things out. And so if you're running, let's just use like just a picture example, and somebody is running ads or they are continually posting something on social media organically. Are you testing two things? Are you testing three things? Are you testing five? Like, what's kind of your average, like if you're running ads or doing something with one of your clients, of how many actually pieces are you testing?
What I've been taught, and even what I believe, is just one at a time.
Okay.
So that how are you keeping track of multiple variables? I think it
Go into
comes
that.
too complicated.
Okay.
Mhm.
Give some advice around that.
In terms of testing
Yeah,
or
testing. Like if you're just doing one of them,
Mhm.
like
Let's say like ad set A, right? And we're gonna keep using the cup or the fitness example. Okay, the fitness stuff. So let's say ad set A, it's the same image of these women showing their abs and crop tops. Come to our gym. Maybe you just test out the subject line of the email you're sending out
yep.
to see, like, if you add one with an offer. Oh, new client offer 50% off versus do you want to lose weight, like something like that, that's easily trackable.
Yep.
Same exact copy in the email, same exact image. Then we know, like, this subject line sucks, no one's going to open it. Let's keep using this similar style subject line. Now let's test out the image.
Yep.
We always use images with people, or can we get away with images of equipment or case studies, something like that?
And I'm glad you brought up emails and subject lines because it's a great way of testing without costing money. Like
Exactly.
if you're running a sending out an email with a subject line XYZ and it gets a huge open rate and people are responding, put that in your headline on your ad and test it,
Exactly.
right? And that's super important. And it's crazy how much like a headline can affect the performance, just like the picture. And so many people just leave them all the same. A lot of them don't even realize I should pay attention to this.
Hmm.
It's just kind of the one thing, like, oh, my ideal client's going to love this headline, and they just set it and forget it. And
Hmm.
that could be the biggest aspect to getting someone to actually click the link. The picture, the long copy, the headlines, what lots of times get someone to stop, and the actual sometimes the most important part to have them actually click further,
I agree.
right? Because I've seen actually ads out there that the picture, trying to think of so it was a picture, it was actually a marketing guy, and it was him ordering a hot dog out of like a vending truck.
Hmm.
That picture has nothing to do with his ad, right? But like his call out was XYZ, which is what got me to actually click the ad. And to show that that picture, if we use fitness
Didn't mean
example,
anything.
it
Yeah.
didn't mean anything,
Yeah.
right? But the call out got it. And sometimes that picture does get you to stop, but it was the headline that got you to take action. And understand like the human psychology of that stuff is really, really huge.
Hmm.
Even on like a low ticket ascension funnel for a client where we had, hey, get this. It was a lead magnet we designed for $7. We changed the $7 to where we put $40 with a line through it
Hmm.
for $7, save 33, and conversions went up by like 20%.
They think they're saving money, but in
It,
reality, it's the same cost, right?
right. And it's something
Exactly.
so small had a major effect. And it just shows the power of testing and trying different things out. And
Hmm.
so many people, and I love that you brought up data because that's when you look at like understanding the data points from the subject line to the picture to the written copy or to the video to what the landing page says or the form and the questions on the form or the there's so many details which each little part, same thing with a VSL or a webinar, like what's being said, lots of times there's things that just get people to jump ship on you really quick and you don't
Exactly.
even know it. One thing that you brought up earlier that I kind of said I want to talk about in a second was audience sizes. To me, like I'm a firm believer that everybody out there, even if you and I did the exact same thing, right? Like we followed the exact same template process, we gave the clients the exact same, right? There are more than enough people out on the planet for a bunch of people and everyone to be successful and however they want to be successful. So I never think that there's a problem with individuals to sell to out there.
I agree.
when you are running ads or you're building a business and running ads specifically, do you have an audience size that you try to? And if we're running ads nationally, not for a
Mhm.
local business, obviously that's a totally different animal, but we're running nationally, or maybe the top five, countries from America to Australia to the UK, let's just say you're running ads across America. What would you have an audience size for an average client?
I can't give an exact number, but for something national, it should definitely start off in like the 2 millions range, at least. But of course, yeah, it depends on the service or product as well.
Yep.
But I can't give an exact number.
Okay. And I agree with that. Every offer is going to be a little bit different. Is
Mhm.
there a max audience number like that you'd be like, okay, that is just too big. Like, so
Mhm.
let's use again my healing internally rheumatoid arthritis offer, right? There's millions of people in America that have autoimmune disease. What would you kind of say a range wise for um an audience, like low end 2 million, high end like 6 million? What
Mm.
would you kind of just suggest at the very beginning?
And to be clear, is it that like it's like a digital
Yeah,
like
online
type of
course. Yep.
coaching? Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Hmm. I would say maybe in the middle of that to give yourself a
Okay.
fair shot, maybe four.
Okay. If you're looking at different offers, um, do you see that range change, or should people always be, hey, we're trying, you should be at least 2 million? Because I agree, you don't want to be having it like 50 million, like that's
Yeah.
just too large, right?
Mhm.
Um, is there a minimum, like if we say 2 million minimum, is there a maximum that you would do for testing that you would never really go above for any offer out there?
Not really. The first thing I thought of is that maybe you split it up into different campaigns.
Okay. What Go into detail on that just in case like some of my listeners don't know what different campaigns mean.
Okay, let's say you wanted to launch a 30-day campaign, narrowing it down to this one specific service. Maybe campaign A can be people on the West Coast, set at 4 million, and then campaign B, people on the East Coast, set at another 4. I wouldn't make it one giant campaign where you're targeting over 6 million people with one or two ads.
Okay.
Maybe you separate it by region, and then maybe with your own research you try to call out that audience using what you can find about maybe laws in California or laws specific to that region, just to try to make sure you're actually talking to that audience, because how can you really speak to a 6 million group of people with one message? So I would probably try to split it up into maybe regional or states, just to see, because like, like Florida alone can be what, maybe 2 million,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
Um, Let me kind of ask, just in case people are wondering, like who are like your ideal clients that you work with?
Mhm.
Are they brick and mortar businesses? Are they online businesses? Are they selling widgets? Are they selling a
Mhm.
course? Are they selling knickknacks? Like who are some of your ideal clients?
Services for sure. And I would prefer services where it's like subscription based.
Okay.
So I can't really say exactly what service, but I prefer services and the more like subscription based services.
Okay. Why do you like that type of offer?
I noticed that it's maybe more reasonable or easier, I could say, to build funnels with those types of business models, because I noticed, at least on the product side, I it's really high stress.
Okay.
And then it's like it's you're always looking for the next sale, the next sale, the next sale, you know? Versus when it's like services, especially subscription based, it's a matter of getting in front of new customers while retaining what you already have with relevant offers.
Yep.
Mhm.
And it's kind of interesting that that type of offer is kind of what you're targeting to, because I see a lot of the online space moving that way as well.
Mhm.
Subscription based, or it's a software, it's a monthly,
Yeah.
whatever it may be. And a lot of coaches are actually going that way as well, away from like the high ticket offer. It's like, hey, I'm gonna something that's $100 a month and I'll get a bunch of clients. But that also runs into sometimes a problem itself with certain offers, because of the aspect of the lifetime value of a client.
Mhm.
And hey, I brought in 100 new clients this month. It's doing awesome. And then I've said everyone always, then a bunch of people quit the next 30 days because it's hard to
Mhm.
keep some customers on a monthly subscription. And I know some of the studies out there, like if you're $6 to like $9, people will never cancel that until their credit card expires.
It's true.
So there are different variables to look at, right? Of what there is out there and what you're getting. Again, are you saving time? Is it saving you money? Is it getting you
Mhm.
a benefit? Those type of things. So subscription-based businesses, like you said, of growing that, and running ads to that can sometimes be easier, because lots of times also it's a lower entry fee for a client.
Correct.
And so it's a lot quicker buying cycle, or an easier buyer cycle of having a page of like, hey, here's what we have. Take it or leave it. It's $10 a month, or take it or leave it. It's
Mhm.
$50 a month. So do you see it's easier to get people in there because of it's a subscription based, and you're able to have a broader type of deal? Like if someone was looking at setting this up and going this route, what would be some of the benefits for them to do it that way? That was a long question for that.
Yes, it was. Okay, so you're asking what are the benefits to pursuing a subscription-based service versus the other
Yeah,
one?
yeah, yeah,
There the benefits are it we kind of touched on this a while ago, is that there's some clear-cut funnels that just work.
yeah,
You don't have to reinvent the whole wheel. We've talked about, the Facebook lives. We've talked about the webinars. You can even do in person, like if it's a brick and mortar, you can even do in person networking events where you give a speech and then boom, form fill. Now you have 10 people to reach out to. You just have to maintain the relationship and close a sale at maybe 10%. So out of every 10 people you talk to, you get one sale.
yeah,
And it's just cheaper to maintain those at that rate than it is to continuously run and test so many ads, and you have no clue if this is even a product that people will want in 5 years.
yeah.
Mm.
I couldn't agree more. Um, you brought up something there. Hey, there's certain landing pages or certain funnels or certain things that just work, right? Like
Yes.
I think we can all agree videos work, right?
Yeah.
Commercials have been run forever on TV, right? Obviously, videos work. Written copy works. Certain funnels, they all work. What do you see the difference between a functional funnel? Let's pretend the ads are working extremely successful. Let's get into the next part of data and the next step. How do you track if your funnel aspects are actually working?
Mm.
Do you know what I mean there?
Yes.
Okay.
If in terms of ads, you can put like tracking codes
Okay.
and then sync it. Let's say you sync it up to your landing page. So you can track how many people are clicking on the ad and getting to the landing page. So let's say if you're getting 300 clicks in a week, and then once they get to the landing page, no one is actually filling out the form, then you know it's the form.
Yep. And looking at, you made the comment of, hey, we don't have to rewrite the wheel lots of times.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a big believer in that too. Like everything I've studied and learned over the years, like frameworks, understanding certain process so we can collect data, and making changes like that
Mm-hmm.
of, hey, our ads are crushing it. The moment someone hits a landing page, we're only converting at like 6%. That's horrible. It should be 25%. So obviously it's a landing page.
Yes.
And so looking at a landing page, knowing that that's the issue, if someone does knows it's a landing page but doesn't know what to do, are there any suggestions you could provide them to say, hey, you might want to tweak this or try this on a landing page?
One initial thought I had was that I have used like Microsoft Clarity, this thing you can install, and then
Mm-hmm.
it literally shows you what people are doing on your website.
Great tool. Yeah. We have the
So if
heat
people
sensor.
are not, you can literally see, like you're saying, the heat sensor, it will show you the areas of your site or landing page where people are actually clicking and where they're not. So if no one is clicking past a certain point, shorten it up.
Yep. And it Microsoft Clarity, just in case people didn't get that. So it's an app you can download. It is free and it's really nice because you can have it on your landing page. If you have a
Mhm.
long landing page and it might be a long sales letter, but if people are going just to all they're reading is a headline and they're not going anywhere and checking out, you know your headline is messed up.
Exactly.
It's not getting anyone to go. Or if people scroll 20% of the way, you know you better get as much good information in that first
Mhm.
20% to either get them to read more or a call to action button there. So there's a lot of ways to maximize that. What are some of the the proven frameworks or proven things, like you said, of hey, sometimes we don't need to reinvent the wheel. What are some proven things that you use to give some people some ideas if they're looking at, oh my gosh, my stuff's not working.
Mhm.
I need an idea of how to do it. What would be something proven that you've used to give somebody a really good gold nugget?
With the landing page and website thing, it's proven that put your offer, your form fill, whatever, before the first scroll. Like as soon as I go from your ad to your website, I should immediately know what you're offering and a way for you to capture my information and data before I even scroll.
Yep. How much? Yeah, I see this all the time. A website looks great on a computer,
Yes.
or a landing page looks great on a computer. You pull it up on mobile, it just sucks. How often do you run into like a client coming in and their stuff's not optimized for mobile?
Mm,
Do you see it a lot still? Because I'm blown away how often I still see it.
I would say, especially with newer websites, yes. If you aren't careful to whoever's developing your site or web team, they should know at least to optimize for mobile before launch.
Yeah, and there are some online business owners, they're doing everything themselves and they don't know that stuff. So
Mhm.
is there what software do you normally have clients on? Like, is it Go High Level? Is it ClickFunnels? What do you normally have people optimizing on
For the ads or for like sites and
for sites?
for sites, everyone uses WordPress.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then how about for like a funnel page?
A funnel, I haven't actually developed any funnels.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I normally have my clients using Go High Level and it's one thing. And I'm gonna pull up, I'm just gonna pull up Facebook real quick.
Okay. Everyone's
Uh
talking about high level.
say that again.
Everyone's talking about go high level.
Yeah, it's a beautiful software. Um, as an example, like if I pull this up, right, like this is just
Okay.
Facebook. Shout out to Undeniable Closer, JD and Hunter, you guys. Um, you want to have your phone optimized above the fold. What
Mm-hmm.
Kendra's saying, if someone opens up a phone, they should immediately be able to know what you're offering. Like everything above that. And there's so often where I will click on someone's ad and like their first word, let's just use a ridiculously long word. Let's use supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like 3 lines for one word, right? Because it looked good on your desktop. It was just one
Exactly.
word, but and everything else gets pushed down. And if someone opens that and it's just a jumbled mess, good
Mm-hmm.
luck. They're closing down immediately. So it might
Exactly.
actually not be what you're saying on your page. It might be the way that it's formatted. And as a lot of the funnels, like if I'm having a client, a call out to who it is, doing the headline, the sub headline, and lots of times there's a VSL or a video and have that. So it's all right there. So it immediately gets someone to take action rather than look at it. And so I think that's amazing advice that you gave there. And the Microsoft Clarity, I don't think enough people use that either. So I'm really glad that you use that and brought that up. Um, what is something that you would want to bring up and discuss specifically, kind of open forum at the moment? Didn't mean to throw you out real quick there that we haven't talked about.
Okay, we have touched on this as well. As a newer business owner or even one who's been in the game for a long time, before you invest in ads or whatever, figure out A, what your budget is, give it enough time to test it, and see, build the funnel, not just around ads or just social or email, build a omni-channel, as they call it, marketing approach where you are running ads for whatever budget you can afford. You're running email campaigns using that data and maybe even similar audiences, which a lot of email campaigns can be ran for free or for very cheap, especially if you're like on Shopify or something. And then, maybe use social as that like digital platform to build that brand.
I could not agree more. And it's my same philosophy. And you and I have had a lot of discussions around this, how many business owners that move into the online space and they clicked on a marketing ad, believe the
Mm-hmm.
hype of, hey, if you're an online business owner, basically just run ads and you're going to start
Mm-hmm.
making $100,000 a month, working 1 hour a week, doing absolutely nothing and living on the beach. And people buy into that marketing, think that's way
Mm-hmm.
that it works, which could sometimes be further from the truth. And I'm glad you brought up understanding what your ad spend is, what number is comfortable to you, because the other thing is when you're running ads, and a lot of business owners don't see this. A lot of the clients that I work with, it's they have a coaching program. As an example, they don't even know what their client acquisition cost is,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people go in and hey, I'm going to run ads and don't realize that probably their cost per call to get booked will probably be 75 to maybe $200. Worst case scenario, higher than that if your stuff is really not dialed in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all depending on offer. And if you're closing 1 out of 10 and it was costing you $100 to get that in, that client acquisition cost was $1,000. You're
Exactly.
selling a $2,000 product, but it costs you $1,000 to get that. That's insanity. Like that's a recipe for
Exactly.
disaster for a business. So I'm really glad you brought that piece up. And then the other aspect of, and I know that you do this as well, and why you and I, hit it off so well. That's what, like, all my clients when they come in, it's I'm going to help you build a foundation for an online business of a 7 or 8 figure business
Mm-hmm.
with a total ecosystem going on and maximizing everything. And I know you do the same thing of maximizing the branding,
Mm-hmm.
maximizing the messaging, building out the assets and being successful that way. So once you run ads, they're going to be successful.
Exactly.
Everyone skips that step. And it's one thing that you and I love talking about. People always try to jump to step number 10. Well, you can't jump to step number 10. You need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up in place first. And people that work with you, they're going to be in such an amazing spot because you're so knowledgeable on tons of different aspects. You've helped so many businesses run their ads, grow and become successful. I know we're both short on time. Is there, and we both kind of have a hard stop today, is there anything particular you want to leave the audience with?
One thought, and this is from a digital marketing standpoint, don't put all your eggs in one basket, especially in 2024. Don't put all your eggs into just ads. Don't put all your eggs into just social. Try as much as you can within your budget and test as much as you can. Because with the example you were giving, if the person's spending $1,000 to get one client, you have to close that sale.
Yeah,
You cannot afford to not close that client at that rate.
yeah, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I love again that we have the same view on that. And you know that I'm in agreement with you on that. And it's, how do you become successful online? Because so many people are failing. And we kind of had that dialogue. Like, it blows you away when, you and I are in some of the same mastermind groups together. We run in some of the same circles, and how many people we see struggling that shouldn't be.
Hmm.
So if you're struggling, both Kendra and I want you to know you can be successful. There are enough people out there to make everyone successful. So if you're not being successful, there's data points through your process that are not working, and it's causing you not to be successful. So, Kendra, how would people get a hold of you if they wanted to touch base with you to potentially learn more about you, to potentially work with you? How would they go about doing that? And I'll put a link in the description as well, but just so they know how to find you.
I have a website, brightwriter.org, and that is where you would see
Repeat that one more time, a little slower, just so people have it.
brightwriter.org. And essentially I created that name as, like, my cute brand, because I did start off in the copywriting space. And you can go on there and you can fill out a form. You can even give me a call. And I'm pretty flexible, and I can even offer, one-on-one 15, 20-minute strategy sessions.
I love it.
Mhm.
I love it. I want to say again, thank you for being on. I would love to have you on again in the future. I know that we've connected and got to know each other better, know each other's skill set. We kind of work together, help clients out together with certain aspects, and I look forward to that. And I think we do another one, and maybe go into specifics. I think maybe over the next month, of looking at some of the biggest issues some of your clients are having, some of the biggest issues my clients are having, and maybe kind of go back and forth on some of those issues to really help individuals out there. Because again, I know how many online business, and I struggled. I know that you've
Mhm.
struggled. You've seen businesses struggle, but you also see how quickly, when things are done right, how quickly things can turn around. And it's one of the things that anybody that works with you is going to be extremely blessed, because you have the knowledge, you have the expertise. I'm glad you just brought up the copywriting piece, because you have a lot of different skill sets that help a business owner to really become successful. So if they're struggling, you're definitely someone they should be reaching out to see if you can help get their ship back in the right spot. So again, thanks for coming on, and we'll talk soon.
Talk soon. Thank you for having me.